What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made this beautiful, delicious, tender, juicy, flavorful, grilled, amazing Korean style barbecue on a pellet grill. Coming up, this is some meat. Pat them dry. And what I got here is some flanking cut ribs. These are some beef short ribs that were zipped on the bandsaw against the bone. So we got some bone-in, nice thin pieces of meat. And this is a really fun cut. And I actually cook these all the time. You know, throw them on the grill for a quick weeknight dinner or a little snack. Toss them in whatever rub you like, whatever sauces you like. They're fatty and they're super tasty. But one thing I really don't do enough is the proper Korean galbi barbecue. That's because usually I don't have an Asian pair lying around and I don't feel like whipping up a marinade and waiting. But it really is the best way to prepare this cut. And that's because these are in fact beef ribs, so unless they're cooked really low and slow or braised or something like that, they're gonna be really tough. But with the Korean barbecue marinade, the enzymes in the fruit will tenderize the meat the same way a pineapple would, making these much more tender and much more delicious because of all the flavors in the marinade. But before we go ahead and throw these on the pit, let's go ahead and make that marinade. Ingredients for our marinade include some soy sauce, some mirin, some Sprite, because my buddy Joe Yim told me to, some sesame oil, some Korean chili flake, aka gochugaru, some garlic, some brown sugar, our ginger. I chopped it up just to make life a little easier on the old food processor here, the whites from our scallions, and one kiwi. Now, traditionally Asian pear is used, but I hear a lot of people also use kiwi because it's got a similar but a little bit stronger of an enzyme than the Asian pear. So I think if I was doing something like bulgogi with a less tough piece of meat, the Asian pear would work great, but because these ribs are really tough, the kiwi should work a little bit better. And I've never tried it before, so I'll let you know. We'll also go in with a pinch of salt and some freshly cracked black pepper. And get that all mixed up. And now that our marinade is done, everything is nice and smooth. I'm gonna pour a little bit into the bottom of my container here. And we're gonna start going in with our beautiful, nice and fatty looking beef short ribs here. One layer down, a little bit more marinade. And then we'll go in with another layer, a little more marinade. And the rest goes on top. Smells so good already. Again, I don't know why I don't make this marinade more often. That came together so quickly. But I'm gonna go ahead and kind of toss these around, make sure everything is evenly covered. And while this marinates, I will likely come through and toss these around a few times as well, just to make sure we've got even coverage. And then lid goes on, and into the fridge this goes overnight. And you could probably get away with just about 4 hours or so on this marinade, but to ensure maximum flavor and maximum tenderness, overnight is best. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. This video is brought to you by ZBiotics. ZBiotics is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was created by PhD scientists to help tackle that rough morning after a night of drinking. And how it works is when you drink alcohol, it gets converted in your gut to a toxic byproduct called acetaldehyde. But ZBiotics produces an enzyme to break that down in your gut where it's needed most, because it's that toxic byproduct, not just dehydration, that is responsible for those rough mornings. And how it works is super simple. Just make sure this is your very first drink of the night. Then proceed with your night as planned. Drink plenty of water, get a good night of sleep, and you'll wake up feeling refreshed the next morning. And with summer upon us, I am very likely going to find myself drinking a couple of beers, standing around the grill, or enjoying a nice bourbon after a long, hot summer's day. But I've still got work to do, need to be productive. But with ZBiotics, I know I'll be able to tackle whatever the summer throws at me. So if you want to give ZBiotics a try, click the link in the description box of this video where you can save 15% off your first order. Again, link in the description where you can save 15% off your first order of ZBiotics. One overnight marinade later. Out of the fridge these come, and I did come through several times over the last marination period and mix them around for even marinating. And these are looking really good, smelling fantastic, looking a little bit darker, and hopefully nice and tender. So now out they come, and I'm gonna kind of squeeze some of this extra marinade off. I'm not gonna rinse them or wash them or anything like that, but there's a lot of sugar in this marinade and I don't want it to burn up too badly on the cooker. But then again, a little bit of blackening and char is not a bad thing. Just adds more flavor. So I'm gonna pull all of these out, trying to leave as much marinade behind as possible. And I'm telling you folks, the smell is so good. And just like that, out of the marinade and ready to hit the grill. As for all this extra marinade, you could use this again if you're planning on making more Korean barbecue in the next couple of days. Or you could pop this in a pot and simmer it for a couple of minutes to cook off all that raw beef and then just use it as a sauce, which sounds like a good idea. But now with our lovely beef ribs marinated, I think it's time to fire up the pit. Got the old pellet grill here set up in grilling formation, if you couldn't tell by the little flames poking out over there, which means I removed the burn pot cover, so we got direct flames coming up and hitting these grill grates, and I've got these situated upside down, so we got the kind of flat top situation going on here, which should work out a lot better than grill marks, because I'm not really a big fan of grill marks, especially for a cut like this where we want to get even caramelization. Rocking some Smokin pecan shell pellets per usual. Great flavor, nice and smoky. Check out my link in the description box if you want to pick up some of these for yourself and get yourself a little discount. And it's hard to tell in daylight, but there's a good amount of smoke coming out of there compared to other pellets I've tried. But the pit is set to 350 degrees, which should be pretty good for grilling. Not too hot, because I don't want to burn these too badly. Although, honestly, every time I try to make Korean barbecue, I usually blacken them a little bit too much. So that's why I've got it set at 350 instead of like 400 or 500. But we're going to let those grates heat up for a couple of minutes, and then we'll grill these off. And on the pit we go. Ooh, lovely sizzle on that. Probably not going to cook all of these. Maybe I'll save some and bring them down to the chud shop for the boys later. Beautiful sizzle on that, but definitely not cooking too quickly, which should be good. And I think this is kind of the perfect pit for doing this because it's kind of like a flat top, but we're still getting all that wood flavor in there, and it's super convenient. And the whole live fire grilling aspect of this pellet grill is why I wanted this specific pellet grill for so long. I've talked about it before, but I cook most of my food over fire on a charcoal grill or on the chud box or something like that. But for a small, quick cook like this, firing up a charcoal chimney seems a little bit unnecessary. So over the years, I've gone back and forth between flat tops and gas grills, but they always seem to break or die because they're not very well made. But for a cook like this, which is literally my lunch, the grilling aspect of this pellet grill is super handy. And we still get some smoky flavor, but those are probably ready to flip. Ooh, it smells so good. Looking pretty good to me, folks. Nice browning, nice sizzle factor, really quick cook, nice and smoky. I'm excited. Oh yeah, look at the flames just kissing the meat. And just like that, in no time at all, off these come. Oh God, it smells so good. I gotta stop saying that. And just like that, these things are done. Looking absolutely beautiful, feeling nice and tender. Good fat render on there, nice amount of char, but nothing is too crispy, which is always a good thing. I'll let these rest for about 10 minutes or so, so now all we gotta do is snip them all apart. And by snip, I mean yes, we're busting out some scissors. Nicely snipped apart, and to finish these off, we'll go down with a little bit of green onion, just for good measure, add a little bit of freshness. Beautiful. All plated up, looking very nice. I paired it with some kimchi, which I did not make, but we'll talk about that in a minute. I also did reduce that sauce down a little bit, cooked off all the raw beefness, so we can use that as a little dipper if we want. But for now, I think it's time to dive on into these and see how they came out. I think we'll start with this nice meaty one. Oh, dude. That is phenomenal. Incredibly flavorful right off the bat. That marinade is perfect. Salinity is right where it needs to be. A little bit of sweetness, but not too sweet. Got some nice wood flavor from that grill. And it's nice and tender too. Gotta love that. I love gnawing on these little bones. So fun. It's like a chicken wing. That is so good. And it definitely doesn't taste like kiwi, which is something I was a little concerned about, but that is a great bite of food right there. I'm gonna eat this whole pile. I'll tell you that much right now. Go for another one real quick. Just pulls right apart. That is so good. Some of those little charred bits of fat on the ends. Oh, they're so crispy. So good. I know they look pretty dark, but there's nothing bitter or burnt about these. They're so good, but we'll see what this sauce is like. Dip it back in the marinade here. Whoa. That is a flavor bomb right there. I thought it might be too intense, but it's really not. Oh, that's so good. Definitely approaching maximum saltiness if you dip it in this sauce though. So if you're a little more sensitive, you might want to water that down or cut it with vinegar or something like that. I could eat this all day. I think I will. Pair that with a little bit of kimchi. That's a good kimchi. And no, I didn't make it, which is something I thought about doing. But for the pellet grill series and this video in particular, I wanted to keep it pretty simple, just to kind of remind you guys that this does exist. It makes for a perfect summer grilling recipe, because other than waiting for the marinade, it really does come together super quick and it's incredibly flavorful. But I do want to do another deep dive into Korean barbecue where we make all the banchan, like all the sides, all the different types of meat, like some bulgogi, maybe butterfly, a full beef rib, turn that into some Korean barbecue. So if you want to see a full deep dive into the Korean barbecue with me and the boys down at the Chud shop, let me know in the comment section down below. That sounds like a very tasty day. I don't know why I don't make that marinade more often, but it's so good. That kiwi definitely works as far as tenderness goes as well, which is convenient because I usually have to go to an Asian grocery store to find an Asian pear, but there's always kiwis available. Dip, dip, dip. But with this very last bite of Korean barbecue, because I legitimately just ate all of that off camera, I think it's time for the official taste test. All right, y'all, and that is it. That is how to make some absolutely fantastic Korean-style barbecue or galbi on the pellet grill. I highly recommend giving this one a try. You know, it really is a super easy recipe that makes some super flavorful, tender grilled beef. And it's a really quick cook, which is perfect for a snack or a lunch, make a whole meal out of it, bring these to a party, or the perfect thing for some summer grilling, and definitely something I'll be doing again very soon. But all that being said, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that subscribe button. Let YouTube know by dropping a like on this video. If you do give this recipe a try for yourself, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Chuds BBQ. I'd love to see what y'all are cooking. Big shout out to all the Team Chud members. Thank you for supporting this channel and allowing me to keep making all these videos. And until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace!